And new tonight, this is the kind of thing that blows your mind. Look at this video in the western part of the state. There is a roof floating down what could be either a river or it could be a road. With all that water, it's kind of hard to tell. And let's go to the western part of the state where the DOT says all roads should be considered closed. And here's why. The DOT shared this picture on social media. It was taken in a closed section of I-40. This muddy water isn't a river. That's US 74. You can't even see the pavement in that picture. Now, it's one of many pictures from DOT who are asking people just to stay off the roads in the western part of the state. I-40 is closed on both sides of Asheville tonight. One at the top, Old Fort Mountain, closed lanes on the east, and one at the Tennessee state line. Those lanes are closed to the west. And here's video of the Pigeon River against the side of I-40, just west of the state line. The Tennessee DOT says a mudslide took out the eastbound lanes of the interstate about 3 miles into North Carolina. Now, out west, I-40 closed at the North Carolina-Tennessee line. You see that picture? That's where the side of the mountain just ate away the highway right there. And you see the traffic backed up right before that happened. It was carried away by the Pigeon River. And this is something that the people in the western part of the state are going to be dealing with as they try and clean this up.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. Just in the past 20 minutes, we have heard from Governor Roy Cooper's office that he has requested a major disaster declaration from the federal government for 38 counties in North Carolina and the Cherokee Reservation. They are hoping to get more federal help in here as quickly as possible as we learn the extent of the disaster in western North Carolina. All new tonight, we have aerial footage over Lake Lure in Rutherford County. Now, earlier today, there was a lot of concern that the dam was failing. That was the alert, that there was an imminent failure. But tonight, we learned that it is no longer at risk of imminent failure. But you can see from this video, a lot of water getting released through there and a lot of damage. There are roads that are washed out. A little later in this video, you're going to see some of the damage on the lake itself with a lot of debris pushed up against the homes there. You see all of that debris. There are boats also pushed up against homes here. A lot of cleanup. Again, it's going to be a while before we get the entire scope of the devastation in western North Carolina. We're starting to get a better idea of some of the problems in Watauga County, up around Boone and Banner Elk. A boil water advisory still is in effect up there because of a busted water main from earlier today, and there was a whole lot of flooding a little earlier this afternoon. This evening, I talked with 3 Appalachian State students who are glad that the worst is over. A river of debris charges through this parking lot in Boone. Watch as the power of water pushes these vehicles into each other. A scary day for students at Appalachian State, like McKenna Curley, Melanie Pinzon, and Madison Biema.
Being from North Carolina, I've seen hurricanes and some tornadoes come through. This is the worst I've seen. It was kind of scary. I was kind of worried.
Just outside their dorm, saturated ground gave way, opening this big sinkhole. And with no electricity or cell service, they were cut off from everyone.
I'm from Iowa, so this was my first tropical storm. And I know my family back at home was nervous, and I was nervous because I just had never experienced anything like this.
As the water rushed through Boone, even carrying this portable toilet downstream, many other parts of Watauga County are just as hard hit. This is a picture of flooding from Tynecastle Highway in Banner Elk. Wilderness Run Alpine Coaster posted this picture on Instagram, saying they won't be open for a while because the road's washed out. And Sugar Mountain Ski Resort posted this video of some of the damage in that community just southwest of Boone. A day for the history books in the North Carolina mountains, and these students say the App State campus came together.
And I think just having friends here really helped us get through it.
The conditions deteriorated all day in western North Carolina. Look at all this rain, all that water. Cell service was down for hours in many areas, which affected 911. Governor Roy Cooper said this was one of the worst storms to hit western North Carolina in modern history.
I'm telling people, consider all of the roads closed in western North Carolina and do not leave unless you're trying to evacuate, get to higher ground, or unless there is an emergency, because these rivers are rising, and in the mountains, it happens faster than in the east.
And the governor said 30 swiftwater rescue teams from 7 states are in the western part of North Carolina to help out. Speaking of Western North Carolina, historic flooding caused catastrophic damage. Everywhere you look. This is Asheville earlier today, where a curfew is in place as thousands of customers are still without power. And it wasn't just flooding havoc. Take a look at these photos. There's a couple of trees from a viewer fell on this home in the Asheville area. Old historic home. Look at the size of these trees. WR's Willie Danley has more on the destruction in Asheville.
It's been a chaotic day here in Asheville. That floodwaters finally started to recede, leaving behind this muddy slush on the ground. People here tell me that they can't turn down a single street without seeing a fallen tree that's taken down power lines. And the worst part is they don't know how long it's going to take for things to return to normal.
It's pretty scary. I mean, we literally cannot leave our driveway. We can't exit our streets.
High-speed winds from Hurricane Helene knocked down trees that are over 100 years old, bringing down a lot of power lines with them. The majority of Asheville is without electricity, and residents don't know when it will be back on. One of the only places open was this Publix grocery store. The line stretched around the building. Jen Hartzog came to stock up on essentials, and with flooded roadways, it wasn't easy getting here.
It's like a maze. You have to go around the trees and then circumnavigate gigantic ponds, and then there are power lines down, and you don't want to get close to that.
People who were able to get to the grocery store considered themselves lucky. Charletta Long had to be rescued from her hotel by the fire department.
We got flooded in the storm last night. When I went to sleep, it was fine, but when I woke up, it was just flooded. My car is underwater, so it's just awful.
Cleanup crews are working to get rid of all the damage, but Biltmore Forest town manager Jonathan Nappy tells me with no electricity and cell service, it's hard to get in touch with response teams.
We're doing the best we can to get everybody cleared as quickly as we can, too. It's just going to take time.
People here have no idea how long it's going to take before their power gets turned back on, and city officials have enforced a 7 o'clock curfew. They're urging people to stay home and stay safe. In Asheville, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
Thousands of people in Western North Carolina currently without power. Here locally, there are some local blackouts with about 200 homes without power in Wake and Durham counties and about 50 homes in Orange counties. Now, viewers have been sending us video of a confirmed tornado in Granville County. You can see this video as it crosses I-85 near Oxford. WRAL's Aaron Thomas spoke with a woman who shot the unbelievable video.
It's not every day you see an apparent tornado near I-85. If you're like Kathy Hudson and her husband, this sighting was worth stopping the car for.
So we pulled over to the side and just kind of watched. And then I realized, oh my God, my husband's right. I have to give him props. He was right. Oh my God, look at it.
A reasonable response when winds whip debris in your direction.
I didn't start getting really nervous until we could hear this loud noise and saw all this debris coming up. It was pieces of metal flying, and I'm like, move forward, pull forward, because if we hadn't, I think it would have come right at us.
It's a tornado, yo. Another video shows the force of nature near Vance Granville Community College. Debris from a structure flies towards the end, locals summing up a range of emotions to describe what they witnessed.
It was amazing. It was scary. It was exciting, just everything at once.
And that was WRAL's Aaron Thomas reporting. Hudson says seeing a tornado in person prompted her to take warnings much more seriously. All right, well, we know Chris Michaels was here in the studio during the thick of these tornado warnings. Let's bring him back in here. Chris, will you tell us about the EF3 and EF1 designations these tornadoes received from the National Weather Service?
And the Weather Service has been on top of it since the beginning, and they confirmed these tornadoes yesterday, and there's still more surveys to be done today. What they do is they look at what's damaged, the degree of damage, and they do ground and radar analysis. They also use drones to see kind of the damage path, and from there, they can estimate the wind speeds based on the enhanced Fujita scale. It goes from a 0 to a of 5. The 2 that we have confirmed, one of which is the EF3, that's the exact path that they mapped out during their survey. That was the EF3 in Rocky Mount with 140-mile-per-hour winds. It was on the ground for a quarter of a mile. In Sampson County, this was an EF1. There you see the path of that took more than 3 miles with an estimated wind of 95 miles per hour. We saw that video out of Granville and Vance County right on the county line. There's also some video floating out there on the Durham and Person County line. We're working to confirm that, see if the Weather Service is going to be surveying any damage near there. The results that we do get today, we'll share those with you as soon as we get them on the WRAL News app.
And new this morning, the NCDOT says 400 roads are closed across the state. Drivers in the western part of the state should consider all roads closed. Historic flooding has caused catastrophic damage. This video shows Asheville yesterday. WRAL's Willie Daniele was there all day and found a grocery store open and packed with people getting those necessities.
So far, the impact of Hurricane Helene has been devastating for people living here in Asheville. Those high winds have brought down trees, which in turn have brought down some power lines. The vast majority of people living in Asheville are without power or cell service. And the people who are lucky enough to be able to leave their homes are heading straight to the grocery store. The line at this Publix on Hendersonville Road in Asheville stretches around the corner. So many customers came to stock up that the grocery store had to close its doors to give employees a break. Jen Hartzalt came to buy necessities, said she doesn't know when her power will be back on.
We stocked up on bread for peanut butter sandwiches. We've got canned goods and mayonnaise, of course, and then I got some shelf-stable summer sausage and cheese, the little, laughing cow, because single serve, no refrigerator.
And getting to the store is no easy feat. People in the area tell me they had to navigate around downed trees and power lines like a minefield.
It's like a maze. You have to go around the trees and then circumnavigate gigantic ponds, and then there are power lines down, and you don't want to get close to that. And, it's just sort of weird to see how much damage there really is. There are so many trees down everywhere.
So far, there is no word on when power or cell phone service is going to be returned to people living here in Asheville. But in the meantime, city officials are urging people to stay home and avoid getting on those roads if that's possible. I'm going to continue to stay here in Asheville and keep you updated on these tropical storm conditions. In Asheville, Willie Daniele, WRAL News.
And I-40 is closed on both sides of Asheville this morning. The one at the top, Old Fort Mountain, closed lanes on the east, and one at the Tennessee state line closed lanes to the west. This is video now of the Pigeon River against the side of I-40 just west of the state line. The Tennessee DOT says a mudslide took out the eastbound lanes about 3 miles into North Carolina. And here's a look at those lanes that were closed for some time before they crumbled. You can see the traffic backed up on the other side, everyone eventually having to turn around. Welcome back. As you're taking a live look in Wilson this morning, a nice and sunny day. You can see the whirligigs are moving as the wind picking up with a nice little breeze. We thank you for watching WRAL News Plus. There are many concerns for college students in the western part of the state. Students at Lee's McRae College in Banner Elk tell WRAL the one road in and out of the town is impassable. And just down the road, UNC Asheville leaders say many trees and power lines are down across campus. Both campuses do not have power, water, or cell phone service. University leaders say they'll provide an update on conditions this morning so students that are able to go home can do so when it is safe. Well, it was a scary day for students at App State in Boone as water rushed through the town. WRAL's Brian Schrader spoke to 3 students who were there stuck in their dorm with no electricity or cell service.
A river of debris charges through this parking lot in Boone. Watch as the power of water pushes these vehicles into each other. A scary day for students at Appalachian State, like McKenna Curley, Melanie Pinzon, and Madison Biema.
Being from North Carolina, I've seen hurricanes and some tornadoes come through. This is the worst I've seen. It was kind of scary. I was kind of worried.
Just outside their dorm, saturated ground gave way, opening this big sinkhole. And with no electricity or cell service, they were cut off from everyone.
I'm from Iowa, so this was my first tropical storm. And I know my family back at home was nervous, and I was nervous because I just had never experienced anything like this.
As the water rushed through Boone, even carrying this portable toilet downstream, many other parts of Watauga County are just as hard hit. This is a picture of flooding from Tynecastle Highway in Banner Elk. Wilderness Run Alpine Coaster posted this picture on Instagram, saying they won't be open for a while because the road's washed out. And Sugar Mountain Ski Resort posted this video of some of the damage in that community just southwest of Boone. A day for the history books in the North Carolina mountains, and these students say the App State campus came together.
And I think just having friends here really helped us get through it.
Meet the Press airs tomorrow morning at 10. Here's moderator Kristen Welker with a preview.
Vice presidential nominee Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz prepare to face off in their first and only debate. How will their performances on Tuesday night impact the state of the race? I'll speak exclusively to Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida and to Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. Plus, Steve Kornacki will take us through our brand new NBC News, CNBC, Telemundo poll of Latino voters. It's all ahead this Sunday on Meet the Press.
The last weekend of September may not be completely rained out. There are still some events planned right here in the Triangle. Let's take a look at this weekend's best bets, starting with the final IBMA World of Bluegrass in Raleigh. The event has returned to Raleigh yesterday after storm delays forced a late start, but the fun continues today. Today's headliners include Steep Canyon Rangers and Sierra Hull. WRAL is a proud community sponsor. And Benson Mule Days is happening this weekend as well. The event is going on as planned, but those who want to buy tickets at the gate must use cash. Event organizers there say the phone lines are down and the best way to stay updated is on social media. There will be rodeos, arts and crafts, and bluegrass shows. And tonight, My Morning Jacket and Nathaniel Ratecliffe and the Night Sweats will be performing at Coastal Credit Music Park. It's the last stop of their Eye to Eye tour. The concert starts at 7:30 and tickets are still available this morning. And definitely be sure to check out some of that fun if you can. Meteorologist Chris Michaels, Chris, taking in some of the images that we're getting in the aftermath of Helene.
Yeah, I think these images are going to be around for quite some time. This is one that meteorologist Kat Campbell had posted to Facebook and to X. According to the North Carolina Department of Transportation, they're saying to consider all roads in western North Carolina closed. And one of the kind of helpless updates here is that many communication lines are still down. I know many folks in our area have obvious concern for loved ones out there and are having a hard time reaching them. Again, this is something that we'll continue to follow. And if we have any new information, we'll share that with you on the WRAL News app. Flash flood emergencies continue in parts of western North Carolina and in East Tennessee, including Unicoi County, where we shared that video earlier of folks having to be rescued from the roof of a hospital. Something that, again, when I covered Unicoi County, never thought was a possibility. Here at home, Apex seeing plenty of sunshine. This is kind of the calm after the storm for our part of North Carolina. Still a lot of cleanup to be done, especially in places like Rocky Mount. Today's going to be a warm one for us. If you can take a break from some of that cleanup, maybe take your exercise outside, it's going to be kind of sticky. Temperatures in the mid-80s, but we stay dry throughout the day today. There's our remnant area of low pressure this evening. Unfortunately, it does look like there's scattered storms returning to the mountains, but nothing quite like what we saw yesterday. Thank goodness for that. First thing tomorrow morning, could see a few storms just in our eastern counties. And then really as we settle into the afternoon, it's almost kind of a typical summer pattern, even though it's the first few days of fall here. After 2 p.m., we'll see some hit or miss downpours. These will come in from southwest to northeast. And again, for us, this does not appear to be a repeat of what we saw just yesterday. Still going to keep it humid, though. You know, usually after tropical systems move out of the area, they move east and we get some drier air on the western side. Well, the remnants of Helene moved to the west, so we're still on the humid side of things, really through Tuesday, if not into Wednesday. But once a front moves from west to east, we're going to get a refreshing kind of cleansing feel to the air. Didn't get to talk a lot about this just because Helene has taken up everything, but we do have Isaac and we do have Joyce. The good thing is we're not expecting those to really do anything to U.S. soil as they stay out over the Atlantic. There is a 60% chance just behind Tropical Storm Joyce, and then a little bit closer to U.S. soil, there is a 40% chance of development within the next 7 days. Unfortunately, that's about all we can share with you just because the system hasn't formed yet. Hopefully, this is nothing that'll play a role on our weather in the U.S. There are plenty of parts of the country that are still recovering from several storms that have made landfall this hurricane season. Pardon me. Temperatures in the mid-80s today, tomorrow, and Monday. Tomorrow and Monday, scattered storms still a possibility each afternoon. Even Tuesday, I can't rule out a few stray showers, but a lot of the moisture from this system is eventually going to get kind of decreased over the next several days. So once that front passes through Wednesday, it's not going to have a ton of moisture to work with. It's mainly dry and mainly serves as a purpose to cool things off a little bit later next week. You're looking at highs Thursday and Friday in the 70s and lows in the 50s. So that's kind of a silver lining to the black cloud that's been hanging over North Carolina for the past few days, Laura.